I speak now to David Des Roches, who is an associate professor at the National Defense University in Washington. Great to have you on the program, David. Tell us, why are the US and NATO still refusing to establish a no-fly zone, given that we've seen Russia strike a military training ground near the NATO member Poland?
Good question. So the key word in that is near, not in. A no-fly zone is not as easy as most people think. It's basically requires NATO forces to directly engage Russian forces, so it would put them into direct conflict. The second problem is most of the damage being done here is not being done by aircraft flying over Ukraine. They're long-range missiles being fired, from the ground, which would not be covered by a no-fly zone. And the Russian Federation and the U.S. Department of Defense verified that the attacks that were fired at the training center were fired from aircraft operating in Russia. They were long-range cruise missiles. So I don't think that a no-fly zone over Ukraine would affect that either. So this is one of those things that it's tempting to do, but when you dig down a little later, you find out that it wouldn't cause much alleviation to the damage, and it would raise the geopolitical stakes to a very high level.
And yet we hear President Zelensky saying that it is just a matter of time before rockets do fall on NATO territory. What do you make of that statement, and how likely is it that Russian missiles could land in Poland, in NATO territory?
Well, it's a good question. I don't think that a NATO missile would be, or a Russian missile would be deliberately launched at Poland, but if they are, missiles don't always land where you want them to land. So I think there is a moderate chance of a Russian missile landing in Poland or Romania, particularly if they attack targets, in Western Ukraine. But I think I don't think Russia's going to be doing that again for a while. I think they've kind of made their point, and I think that their inventory of missiles is much less than we thought it was, and much less than Putin thought it was, and I think that they have to conserve those key things for high-value targets closer to where the Russian forces are firing. So moderate chance of it happening, but I don't think it would be deliberately targeted at NATO territory.
And we have the US Defense Secretary on a European trip at the moment. What could that achieve?
I think he's just reinforcing the alliance. I think that he will probably be maybe announcing additional deployments of like Patriot air defense to Poland, to Romania. He might announce additional troop units, or he might just be visiting the troops that the United States has already deployed into Poland, into the Baltic states. So I think it's more about firming up the alliance than anything else.
And let me ask you something different. We've heard media reports that China may provide military aid and also economic aid to Russia. What are you hearing?
Well, I hear that Russia has asked for it. It's unsure what China's reaction will be. When you look at Chinese security policy, there's always a tension between the desire to maintain trade, which is what makes China a great country, and then the desire to have this sort of geopolitical power to exert itself. And this is one of those instances where if they support Russia, they're going to lose a lot of their trade in there. So I don't see them doing much. And I've heard that one of the requests was for something as mundane as just field rations. So the fact that the Russian army needs to ask another country for field rations really shows that this was much less of a prepared force than we thought it was.
And just for clarity, what are field rations?
Oh, like the meals in a bag that you give to soldiers.
Food to keep them going. Thank you so much, David Des Roches. Always a pleasure to have you on the program.